Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today, the refugee hearing preparation. My name is Diana Gallego. I'm the Associate Director at FCJ Refugee Center. Today, we are going to talk about the updates on the refugee process. That's going to be the first part. The second part is going to be gathering evidence. And the third one is the refugee hearing date. At the end, we are going to open for questions. And please write your questions. Don't write in your questions any personal information. If you have like a specific case, then at the end of the presentation, we will provide you with contact information of our organization. Then you can send a more specific question. But the questions are really welcome because that will enrich the discussion, and sometimes one question will help other ones. And thanks again for being here. This is how it works. You can raise your hand, but again, I will prefer that you write the questions in the chat box. Is here, and then click send. And at the end of the presentation, again, I will read them and we will try to answer all of them. Then, who we are. We are a non-profit organization that serves refugees and other people with precarious immigration status. We welcome everybody. Our motto is our door is open, and the other one is refugee help in refugee hands, because many of our staff members are former refugees or people with precarious status that were former clients, former volunteers, former placement students, and then they become part of the staff. Then this is one of the things that our organization is proud of, that you will be talking with somebody that walked all the way together with you and had the experience. We have been a non-profit organization for almost 29 years. FCJ Refugee Center was founded by Francisco Rico and Loli Rico, former refugees from El Salvador. They start welcoming in that time refugees from Central America that were fleeing war, persecution, and violence. And they started with welcoming refugees with one home. And now FCJ, we have 4 houses. And we are really proud to have settlement programs, immigration, and refugee protection. We have anti-human trafficking and popular education too. These are all the services that we have. We have shelter. We are not categorized as a shelter, but we offer housing for especially women and children that are refugee claimants or with precarious status. We have a primary care clinic for those that are an insurance. Many people in Toronto, unfortunately, they don't have access to a HIP. Then that's why we have our primary care clinic. We have a broadband youth network. Then if you have any youth in your family, this is a great group to join because they still meeting every Wednesday through online, and they do activities, and they also have a network how to help them to navigate the school system. Then it's a really, really good opportunity for them. I really encourage, if some of your family are newcomers, youth, to join our youth network. Also, we have migrant workers mobile clinic. This and the anti-human trafficking. This is for persons that have been trafficked in Canada and related to labor exploitation. Many migrant workers come to Canada to work, to pick up the vegetables that we eat every day, and some of them face really hard conditions and some exploitation. Then we have a really good group of staff dedicated to attend their needs. And we have public education, and these webinars are part of that. We believe that we should share our knowledge, and then that's why we start doing the webinars and the podcast. I'm going to start with the first part of the updates. Probably many of you know or hear in the news that the government announced a new pathway to permanent residency for refugee claimants. This announcement was made on August 14 recently, and is recognizing those that have been working on the working in the healthcare sector that are risking their lives during the pandemic. Unfortunately, the announcement only had designated certain occupations and left behind many other essential workers. Then at this moment, they just did the announcement. We don't know how it's going to be the process to apply, through which kind of application. If it's a letter of intention, or you need to fill out forms. They only did the announcement, but immigration is developing the way that people need to apply. Then for now, it's only an announcement. And they said people who claim protection before March 13, 2020, that have a valid work permit, that have been working in the healthcare sector. And you see here that the designated occupations is just nurses, aides, people related with patient service, and home support workers, PSW. But really, this is just like too short. And then we have been asking IRCC, Immigration and Refugee Citizenship Canada, to make like a more clear list who can apply. They're asking that you need to have 6 months of experience, that you have been working in this designated occupation for no less than 120 hours between March 13 and August 14, but also that you need 6 months of experience. And for the 6 months of experience, then you will have until next year, August 31st, 2020, to prove that you have that experience. If you are in Quebec, then you are going to need a special certificate from Quebec. Many organizations had been asking the government that they should include the rest of essential workers, like people who were cleaning grocery stores, the cashier, the people that were in that list designated, that the government during the COVID-19 designated as essential workers. But they said the negotiations with Quebec were really hard, and that's why they came with this small list. But again, we don't know how it's going to be the process. Then be careful if somebody is telling you give me some money, pay me some amount of money, I will put you first in the list, or I know how to apply. That's not true. They haven't opened the application yet. Then another update is that unfortunately during the second week of March, the Immigration and Refugee Board, that is the government office that is going to hear your case, was closed, and they were closed, and all the hearings that were scheduled during March, April, May, June, July, unfortunately, they were canceled, and many people were waiting for the hearing. They announced that they, on September 21st, then already they started again calling for new hearings. And they said the priority is for those that the hearings were canceled during these past months. Then they are going to send to the lawyers the notice that which day is going to be the hearing. Then they start this week. Then the IRCC offices in Calgary, Edmonton, Hamilton, and Niagara and reopen it, but the services are limited. IRCC will reschedule appointments for those that wants to present a claim, then or to go back for the eligibility interview. IRCC have been saying that many of the refugee claimants, unfortunately, the document expired because we know we have a backlog of hearings, refugee claims that haven't scheduled a hearing of like 90,000. Then a lot of people have been for more than 2 years or 3 years waiting for a hearing. Then most of the time the Refugee ID is valid for 2 years. But they said they will not renew it during this time of pandemic. Then they send guidelines to service providers that even though the refugee protection claimant document expired, still valid, means that you still be covered for the interim federal help. We know that some clients have been calling us and saying, I went to the doctor and the doctor saying my refugee ID is expired and they don't want to recognize the service. Then you need to insist it. Probably then you need to go to another clinic, but the IRCC, we know that they sent to all the service providers, especially in the health sector, that they should provide the services, even though the refugee ID have expired. Then IRCC office were the ones, especially here in Toronto, in Dundas Street, they were the ones who were doing the refugee claims in person, and that was the office that the 5343 Dundas Street West, people went to renew the refugees IDs. Then this is still closed. This week, we know that they have been calling for rescheduling eligibility interviews, but it's only with appointment. Then if somebody show up to any Immigration and Refugee Citizenship office, they will not see you. They are still closed. Only with appointment, they start this week. If you are in Canada and you wish to make a refugee claim inland, then they provide this email in that you can see here in blue. You need to write to them and send, I'm here in Canada, I want to claim protection. Then once you request it, they will send you an acknowledgement letter, and also they will send you the forms to fill it out. Then it's really important that you know what you are doing. Please just don't go and send an email saying, I'm here, I want to claim protection, because after that you will receive like the forms that you need to fill out, and you're going to receive the basis of claim. The basis of claim is the principal document where you need to put your story, your narrative, why you are claiming protection. Then this document is really important. It's like the evidence, the main evidence, piece of evidence of your case, because it's your narrative, what happened, why you were forced to flee your country. And then it will be much better if you have somebody with knowledge to fill it out, a lawyer, and further I will talk about legal aid, how to have a lawyer, or you can contact us and we will assist you to fill out the forms and to see how we can proceed with the claim. Then they will ask you also to provide proof of your address, that you are really in Canada, and your passport or any ID from your country that proves your identity, like a birth certificate or a national identity document. After that, then you will receive the acknowledgement letter, and they will later schedule you for an interview. When they reassume services. But again, we were told that this week they started with appointments. Also, we have many people that came to Canada and claimed protection in October, November, December, January, February, before the pandemic. And unfortunately, they had the eligibility interviews follow up during March, April, May, June, and they were canceled. Then many of these refugee claimants are without the refugee ID and are without the eligibility interview. And without eligibility interview, you will not receive a work permit. We have been receiving calls from clients and other agencies saying the client have the acknowledgement letter, the client got the forms to do the medical exams, but they haven't received the work permit. And I had to explain the work permit will not arrive until you go to the eligibility interview with CBS-8 or with IRCC. If you did it at the port of entry with at the airport, then you will be contacted by CBS-8, Canadian Border Services. But if you did it with inland, with Immigration Refugee Citizenship, they will call you. And yesterday I was talking with a lawyer, and she was telling me that immigration was calling her clients, telling them you have your eligibility interview tomorrow. And instead of calling the lawyer, then there is a lot of confusion these days. Some of the clients thought this was a scam, because recently there are many calls saying we are immigration and you haven't paid some money, and then these are a scam. But now immigration is calling some clients saying you have a schedule, and we have a schedule an interview with you. Then you need to ask questions to see, yes, you are calling me from immigration. If they don't asking you for money, then sure, this is immigration. And then you just need to make sure that you understand at what time is your appointment, where is your appointment, and immediately contact your lawyer and saying, could you please verify that, yes, I had my eligibility interview. Most lawyers will not go with you to the eligibility interview. You have to go by yourself, and they will provide an interpreter there if you have issues with English. Also, many people said, okay, how I can get a work permit? Then again, you need to wait for the eligibility interview. When you claim your protection, there is a form called Schedule 12. Probably you have a copy of this form. Check at the end of the form, there is a little box that the lawyer or the person who helped you to fill out the forms check with your name beside, and it says that are you asked requesting an open work permit, and it was a little check mark. If you have that, then the day of the eligibility interview, the officer should just do like a click and send the message to immigration, and automatically your work permit will be generated. Sometimes happens that the immigration officer or CBSA officer will forget to do that. Then after your eligibility interview, wait 3 weeks. If you don't receive your work permit, then you need to contact immigration, or you can contact us and we will follow up with them. Because we have some cases that people wait for 3-4 weeks. We call immigration and they said, sorry, there is no work permit for you. Also, you need to be careful. If you change your address, please let them know, because then your work permits, when it's generated by the system, it's going to be sent to the first address that you put in those first forms. Then if you change, because some people when they arrive, they are in living in shelters, and now they move or they have been moving around. Be careful, because people, we have clients that said, after 3 months of my eligibility interview, I haven't received the work permit. Then when we ask, are you moving from the first address that you provide to immigration? Yes. Then the work permit, you need to ask immigration again to resend the work permit. Then it's going to be another 2 or 3 months. Then if you change address, please let immigration know about this. Then you will receive your work permit. The IRB, the Refugee Protection Division, is now reviewing files. What this is mean? They want to see if a file is ready for a decision, and they will see if the file is ready, like the basis of claim doesn't have any contradictions, any credibility issues, that all the evidence that what happened to you is there. There are country conditions reports. Then if they see, okay, there is no, the minister is no intervening, there is no credibility issues. We have your identity is clear. They know, yes, this person is from the country that is saying he is. Then they can take your case, and without a refugee hearing, they can decide it. Some people have been confused because some months ago, before the COVID-19 started, they were saying that they will only do take cases without a hearing from certain countries like Venezuela, Yemen, Afghanistan, Egypt. But now they recognize, because of the COVID-19, that they had to stop hearings. And the backlog is growing. Remember, there are more than 90,000 refugee claims without a hearing date. Then they recognize that they need to be proactive, and if the case is ready, they will decide it without a hearing, or they will call you for a short hearing. Then they have been saying to the lawyers, please let us know when a case is ready, when you feel this case is ready. And some lawyers that we have been talking, they said, yes, some clients called me and said, can you put my case together and send it? But some cases that are not ready. If there is credibility issues, if there is identity issues, and you lack of evidence, then it's better that you talk to your lawyer and said, okay, I know the Immigration and Refugee Board is looking to the files. Do you think my file is ready? What can I do to get my file ready? What is the evidence that you need from me to provide you that in order for the IRB to see my file and call me for example, for a short hearing, or they can decide my case without a hearing. That you need to trust your lawyer and listen to them, but be proactive. Contact them. Sometimes the lawyers already provide you with a list of things that you need, and you are just forget about that, waiting. Remember, if they ask you for documents from back home, then these things is going to take some time. Then try to be proactive and remember what are the things that you need to prove your case in Canada. Then they are receiving those, and they had put some board members just to work on these cases. But remember, not all the cases are strong enough to be decided without a refugee hearing. This is like some of this is a picture of the room for the hearing. Then this is, now we end the first session that was related to the new updates. Now, in this section, we are going to talk more in depth how you need to prepare for your refugee hearing. Before the pandemic started, we used to have like ready tours. People were invited to go to the 74 Victoria. If you are in Ontario, in Toronto, that's the building that the IRB is in. Then they were inviting people to go to one of the hearing rooms. Then you can see here a picture that was really good because people will knew, okay, I know when I'm going to see. Then they were explaining everything. Unfortunately, this had been suspended. We had been requested to reopen it virtually, and they are working on this. Then you can check our website because we will post it there when they will be reopened virtually, the ready tours. This is a really good tool to have it. The refugee appeals tours have been suspended, and again we have been asking to do it. This is for rejected refugee claimants. After your claim had been denied, then you can appeal. And they were tours about this too, but again they are suspended. I was mentioning how to apply for legal aid. Sometimes you arrive into the country and some friend or a group church or a lawyer, or you pay an immigration consultant to fill out your forms to make you claim, and you don't have more money to still paying the lawyer or the immigration consultant, then you have the right to call legal aid. Because, for example, if you are in Ontario Works, or you work but you only earn like just to pay the rent and you don't have extra money for a lawyer, then you can apply for legal aid. Right now, legal aid, they will give you a certified, they will provide you with the funds to pay you for the first part, means to hire a lawyer to do the forms, to do the basis of claim. And that's it. They will pay the lawyer until that. For the second part, that is the preparation for the hearing and to go with you to the hearing, then you need another to call legal aid, and you're going to need another certificate with legal aid. Then they're going to ask you some questions again about financial, if you meet the financial needs, and if you have a date for your hearing. Then if you don't have a date for your hearing, probably they will say you need to call us back. But sometimes I tell clients, just call, that they will have your file ready. Then when you get your date for your hearing, you can call back. And then they will give you the funds to hire a lawyer for the second part, for the hearing, and for the preparation on how to gather all the evidence. Okay. Then when you call, there is going to be the first agent is going to ask you questions about who you are, address, and email. They are going to need an email because they will set up an online account, and they will provide you with the CLT number. And then they are going to say, I'm going to pass you to the specialist, and the specialist may take half an hour, 45 minutes. Please wait. Because sometimes they give you the option, we call you back, but it's better to wait. And then in the second part, the specialist will going to ask again about finances, if you are on Ontario Works, if you have a bank account, if back home you have any properties. And then they will ask you about your story, what happened to you. But they don't need like details and proof about what happened to you. They just want in general a sense, yes, I'm fleeing domestic violence. In my country, they didn't protect me, something like that. They don't need really details about your case. Then if they see that financially you need the assistance of legal aid, then they will provide you with the certified number, is the CE number, and then please write it down and look for a lawyer. Or you can continue with the lawyer that you already paid if they receive legal aid. Some lawyers will don't receive legal aid, but if you have legal aid and really you don't have money to continue with this person, please, you have the right to look for another lawyer. Also, you can look at more in depth this information in our Borderless Voices podcast. Then I'm going to talk about what is the basis of claim, that people say the book, the narrative. Again, this document is the most important part of the refugee claim. This is where you write down the story, what happened to you, why you were forced to come to Canada. And at the day of the hearing, the board member is going to look to that, but it's not going to also to look into the basis of claim. This is not the only document. They will look if you apply before coming to Canada to any visa, if you tried to arrive before into Canada, then they will know. They will know if you went to another country before. And also when you claim protection, you fill out some forms. Then the forms are called generic form. The other one is Schedule 8. And in that one, the Schedule 8 is the one that they will ask you about your personal history back 10 years ago. Then what you have been doing in the last 10 years, and also what you have been doing, where you have been living in the last 10 years. These two are really important. Some people don't pay attention to this, but the board member will see the basis of claim and will see the Schedule 8. Sometimes in the basis of claim, you will say, I was living in this town and I was attacked this day. This happened to me. And when they go and see the Schedule 8, they will see that you were not living in that town, that you were working in another place. Then there is going to be a contradiction, or at least you have an explanation. Yes, I live, for example, in Toronto, but what happened to me happens in Mississauga, and Mississauga is just half an hour from Toronto. I was that weekend there. If you have an explanation why this something happened to me is different from my schedule, then there is no problem. But if you are saying I was working here, this happened to me, I was persecuted here, and it's completely different with the schedule A, you were living and working in another place, for example, at the same time, and you don't have an explanation, then that's going to be raise of issues of credibility. Then I know when you probably, if you claim protection at the port of entry, you were nervous, then you don't remember all these things. The officer was putting the schedule together, and then you have 15 days later to do your basis of claim. And again, you don't remember clear some things. You are in a new country. Sometimes you don't know the culture. There is a shock culture. Then sometimes your memory is not so good. Then I advise you to go back, see the basis of claim, see the forms, and if there is anything that you said, oh my gosh, here this is a mistake, you can contact the lawyer and they can do to update any of these and clear explain what was the mistake. But you cannot come up with a different story, okay? That will damage your case. It's just something that, okay, I thought that happened to me on September 12th, and no, that happened to me was on the 14th. Little things, but you cannot call to the lawyer or say to the IRB, sorry, no, this didn't happen to me. What happened to me is this, and this. That's not going to happen, okay? This, then you probably I'm clear about that. Then there is some resources how to fill out the basis of claim. You can go to our website. You will see them. We have the translation in Spanish and all these in Portuguese. And then we have a hearing preparation kit that is from the University of Ottawa. This is going to be posted in our website. You can access, and you will see that we also have the forms translated to Spanish and the other languages. If you are here in Canada and you want to claim protection, then you can use these forms to guide you. But you need to send them in English, okay? Then I'm going to talk about preparing your testimony. Then again, go sit down and review your narrative, okay? And go and check what is the evidence that you already disclosed to the Immigration and Refugee Board. This is already close to your hearing, that you know, okay, I will have my hearing in 1 or 2 months. Then again, go and review everything. Don't wait for your lawyer to call you. Be proactive. This is your case. This is your life. Then take it in your hands. Go and review what are the documents that the lawyer presented, because sometimes the lawyers send some document. Most of the lawyers are really capable, really honest, and they will do the best for you. But like in any profession, there are some we call bad apples. Then go and see what are the documents that the lawyer is putting in your package, because sometimes we see a package made by somebody that they put information from the country conditions that doesn't need, is nothing related with the case. I know the lawyers, they don't have time. They will just call you for the day of the hearing, but you have the right to have a copy of the file, what the lawyer have been disclosing to the IRB. Then think about why your country cannot protect you. If you approach to the police and did a report, or if you didn't do it, why. Sometimes you're coming from a country that there is a lot of corruption, and it's really well known that the police is involved with the cartels or with the gangs, or with the ruling party, and you don't trust them. Then you need to have an explanation why you didn't went to the authorities or the police. And if you did, what was the result? Then try to get those police reports. Why another thing is why you cannot move to another part of the country. This is called the internal flight alternative. This is like a test that they are going to assess to you. They can say, I believe what happened to you. I'm really sorry what happened to you, but also I believe that you are going to be safe in another part of the country. Then if you move internally, you have to have evidence. Yes, this happened to me in this small town, but I moved to the capital city. But even I moved to the capital city, the factors of the persecution is still going on. They found me. For example, I'm a lawyer and I denounce corruption, and I will denounce corruption in this small town or in this big town. Sometimes they said, okay, you were working in this bank and a cartel asked you to provide a list of clients in order for them to do extortion, for example, and you refuse. Then they target you. They will going to ask you, okay, did you ask the company to move you to another city, or you renounce to that company, and then if you were not working anymore in that bank, we don't think so. This group of people will look for you in another city, and they will tell you the name of the city. Then you have to have an explanation. Okay, if I move to the city, why they are going to find you? What are the ways that they can use to find you? But if you are fleeing from one person, then you need to really prove that this person is so powerful that this person is going to find you everywhere that you move. Then I have many cases that the country is so big that they said, sorry, you can be safe in this and this, and they will ask you, okay, why you didn't move to this other country? And sometimes when I ask this question, they say, well, I didn't know anybody in this other part of the region. Then the IRB will say you, okay, you didn't know anybody in this part of the country, but you came all the way to Canada, that you don't know anybody. Sometimes you don't know the culture, you don't know the language. Why you couldn't move internally? Then think about that, because they are going to ask you most of the time that question. Why you were fear relocating in another part of the country. And then you need to have the last one, a reasonable answer. Okay, just not to say I didn't know nobody, or I was not going to find a job there. Then you were not going to find a job because I'm from a minority, and in that part of the country, I know they will discriminate me. Things like that. Then start thinking about this. Also, in the hearing, the day of the hearing, the board member is like the judge, but here we don't call them judge because they are not part of the judicial system. They are an independent board members, qualified to decide your case, but it's called the board member. Then they are going to assess you. The first thing is identity. Recently, I have a rejected refugee case that she was asked to provide her identity because she came to the country with a false passport. Then she just provide a birth certificate, because when you claim protection, for the eligibility interview, one of the things that you need to provide is who you are. If you don't have an identity document, most of the time people have been detained in a detention center until they provide any document who clarify where are you from, who you are. She provided a birth certificate, then the board the IRB, the Immigration and Refugee Board, sent a letter to the lawyer and her saying, okay, we have some issues with this birth certificate. There are some errors that we don't believe this birth certificate is original. Could you please look for another document? And that happened for 2 years. And then finally she was called for the hearing and she was denied because they said, we don't believe who you say you are. We don't believe that you said you are from this country. Then we cannot proceed any further, even to see why you were fleeing the country, because we don't know which country are you from. And then she came to us too late. Then one way to prove your identity, you cannot access to any document, is affidavits from members of the community that are living here, that probably they knew you back home. They are from the same tribe, from the same town, and they have been living in Canada, but they can provide a sworn document, an affidavit saying, yes, I know the person, this person is from this small town, this tribe, this community. But then just don't wait for the day of the hearing. Also, you need to think about credibility. And again, I already provide example. What are the parts that you maybe found not credible in your story? Then you need to know really well what happened. I know there is some people that have post-traumatic stress disorder because they were tortured back home. All these things the board members will consider. But if you don't have any mental health issues, if you are okay, you are just nervous in the day of the hearing, but if you have big contradictions, they will deny you based on the credibility. Again, the internal flight alternative that I explained already, that you could move internally and be safe. The subjective fear. This is related of why I fear persecution, why I thought something is going to happen to me. Then you need to prove, yes, I was part of a party that was in the opposition, and I was part of this movement. I was not part of the directives. I was just a support member, but in my town they already attacked, or they already killed one of the members of the party. Then I was fear that something similar will happen to me. Then this is a subjective fear that you need to prove, okay, why you are fearing that something is going to happen to you. If you were not attacked, nothing happened to you, but then you need to have elements. What happened? A newspaper that says, yes, in this town, this political party have been attacked, or nationally they have been attacked, or there are attacks against LGBTQ community. Then at the moment that I fled my country, they didn't find out who I was, but I was really afraid that at one moment, if they discover, they are going to put me in jail, because in my country is not legal to be with a same-sex relationship. Things like that. That's the subjective fear. And generalized risks. You are coming from a country that a lot of people had been suffering extortion, just even to live in the neighborhood. There is a gang that extortion people, or there is a cartel that is extortion people. Then the board member can say to you, this is generalized risks. Everybody in your town or in the country is suffering violence because it's generalized. Then you need to think how you can take yourself from that group of people and identify yourself. Yes, people have been extortion, but why me? Why me? Because I'm from, I have a business, I have many business in the town. Then even though if I close this one and I open another one, they will find me. Then it's just not because they extortion everybody. It's because I'm really a prosperous person. I have been recognized that I have a lot of money. Then you need to think the way is this happened to me because it's something special about me. It's not just generalized. We have many cases that were rejected because they say, okay, you could close your business in this region or this town and you can move to another place. Then you need to prove, yes, I moved to another place again, I open my business again, and I have been targeted again. That is just not generalized risk, that anywhere that you will go, and I don't have other profession, this is my livelihood, this is who I am. And also they are going to ask you the state of protection. If you requested the state of protection, again, there are some countries that corruption, other things will prevent you to ask for a state of protection. For example, this is applied to domestic violence cases. They will say, okay, in your country, there have been written laws about how you can access the protection of the state, that you can go to the police, that they will prevent the perpetrator to find you. They have shelters that you can move. They have safe houses for women that are fleeing domestic violence. Then why you didn't ask for this? And sometimes people prove that they ask for the state protection, for example, through the police, and but they will say, yeah, but the state can protect. We really believe that the state can protect you because they could move you to a safe house in another region, and we don't think so this person will contact you. And this is another issue that they will look at you. If you didn't do it, why you didn't do it. Then gathering evidence. Try to obtain the evidence as soon as possible. Most of the time, the lawyer will tell you, we can send any evidence before 10 days before the hearing. But please don't wait that they call you for a hearing and then you need to rush because you have 10 days before the hearing to send to evidence. Again, you are the one who knows your case. You are the one who knows, okay, what are the things that I need? Then you can ask your lawyer, I think these are the documents. Could you please tell me what else I need? Because you need to contact a doctor back home. Then they will not answer you in 10 days. Probably the evidence is going to be need translated. Then please start gathering your evidence as soon as possible. Then also see the country conditions and the personal evidence. The IRB, the Immigration and Refugee Board, if you go to the website, you can go and see it. There is this link there that is the country information, and you will see the issues in the package. For example, state protection, domestic violence, there is law against executions, detention, human rights. Then you will see, then you know your case and you said, okay, I need to go and look in this package, anything related with human rights violations. Then you go to that section and see what documents. Most of these, the lawyers will do it. But what I want is, if you don't have a lawyer, or I want you to know what Canada knows about my country, because the board member will rely on this document. Then this will help you to understand, okay, this is how Canada perceives my country about this issue. Then you will be more prepared. Again, the lawyer is the one who will look to these documents and present it to the board, but I think we need to empower ourselves. I'm a former refugee in this country. I was a human rights lawyer, and I didn't speak the language at that time. Then I didn't have all these tools. I just rely on my lawyer. But if you speak English, if you read English, please do it and inform yourself. Okay, this is how they perceive the issues here about LGBT community in my country. Then you will be more prepared. Then again, personal evidence, who you are, make sure that you have the original birth certificates. Issue is that you are member of a group, political group, religious group, ethnic group, or you were a student, and because you were a student in a university that participate in demonstrations, then you need to prove that membership. I have a case that they were saying they were part of a political party, and then they present the membership card. But the IRB, the immigration, said this is a fake membership ID. They have the way to prove if this is a real membership ID. Then be careful because they have a way to know it. Also, you can prove that if you don't have access to any of this ID, because the way that you flee your country, you had to go, and if you are in, for example, because of political persecution, you cannot contact anybody back home, but because probably you will put people at risk looking for these memberships IDs. Then also you can have notarized letters. Sometimes people from the same group, I remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I helped a student from Venezuela. He knew other students that were part of his group were claiming protection in other countries in Europe. He contacted this. I told this person, why you don't contact? A couple of students were in the United States. A couple of another ones were in Europe. Why you don't contact them? That they can do a notarized letter or an affidavit, a sworn declaration saying, yes, he was part of our group and we are claiming protection in this other country, and we recognize him. That's the way. Then you need to be creative too, how to get to prove your case. Against review the incidents in your narrative. If you need medical reports, if you have evidence about pictures, and look for newspapers that things are related to your case. For example, if you were a person who survived torture or imprisonment and you suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, and then look for a psychologist or psychiatric report here. And if back home you, at any point of your life, you were seeking treatment, for example, if you are fleeing domestic violence, if at one point you went to the hospital, then try to find those reports. And the reports need to be like true. I have another case that they brought a report, and the stamps of the report, the board member says this is not a true report because the stamps that were put in the medical report are not real. Like, for example, the person was trying to prove that he was attacked. Then he went and seek medical assistance to the hospital. Then the stamp at the bottom of the report were from the account department. Then the board member found out, look, you are telling me this report is true. It was provided by a real doctor when the stamp at the bottom is from the account department. then please be careful. I know sometimes we come from our countries that you pay a report. These things will not work here. They have a way to find out, okay? Then if this really happened to you, find another way to prove, yes, I was in the hospital with a witness. And also you can have a witness to testify the day of your hearing. Then please, sometimes people try to look for documents to have evidence when this is going to damage the case and the credibility. As I said, these are really important for people who are survivors of trauma, torture, and rape. Then these reports, they are really credible if they will have the credentials of the person. Sometimes you can have an expert witness about the situation in your country. In my own experience, we look for expert witness for professors, university professors, that they knew about the situation back in my home country. Then you say, okay, how am I going to prove my case? I don't have all these documents. Then you can look for an expert that is living, for example, outside your country. You cannot contact anybody in your country, but there is experts in Europe, in the United States, here in Canada. There are professors, and they know about the situation in your country. For example, LGBTQ persecution. Then they can do a written report about, yes, people that is from this ethnic group, or I know the state protection written laws in this country saying that they will protect the women from the perpetrator, but in reality this is no. I have been researching about this issue. Then that's another way to prove your case. And I see that not many people use the expert's report, and this is another way. And if the expert is willing to be a witness the day of your hearing, that will be much, much better. Then think about that too. Then all the evidence needs to be in the English or French, and those are the official language. And if you really speak your language, or you know somebody that speaks your language and write and can do the interpretation or the translation for you, this is a way that how at the end the person can say, yes, I'm not a certified translator, but I know really well the language from, for example, to Spanish to English, and they can do it. There are some official documents that they need to be translated to a certified translator. Then you need to be careful with this. But this is like for newspapers, that's going to cost you a lot of money that if somebody translate them. But if you find a person that is good in both languages, then they can do this certification just like this. Then we finish the hearing preparation, the gathering evidence part. Now we are going to move to the refugee hearing date. What is going to happen and what is happening now during COVID-19, because things have been changed drastically after March, the second week of March. Then when you arrive to the hearing, they are asking you to arrive 30 minutes before. They said, please don't arrive 2 hours before, 1 hour before, because they will not let you into the building because the measures of restrictions for safety reasons for COVID-19. Then they will ask you to have a mask, to keep all the time the 2 meters physical distance. Then you will see in the building signs and in the floor marking things that where you need to stand and the distance that you need to be from one person to another. They have been saying that frequently throughout the day, the building is going to be sanitized just to make sure that the lawyers, the claimants, and the board members will be safe. Then don't invite people. Before, people were inviting like a friend or the pastor or a family doctor to be with them just as support. Unfortunately, because COVID-19, you cannot have guests at this time. Then when you arrive, when you're going to arrive to the building, they are going to give you a self-assessment questionnaire. You need to do it, because if no, they want to check if you have fever, if you have been traveling outside the region, if you are feeling any symptoms. Also, you can go and check in these links. Our PowerPoint presentation is going to be posted when we finish this webinar in our website. Then you can go and check these links, and they are in different languages. Okay. Also, you need to present your identification that date. There is going to be a security guard just at the entry of the building. Again, they are going to ask you the health questionnaire. They are going to check your body temperature, that make sure that you don't have fever. Then if they see you sneezing or probably coughing, probably then they are going to reschedule you. Just this is the minimum security measures that the board had to take. Then the security guard will escort you to the room. Probably some people had been at the 74 Victoria, the board building, IRB, and they were in the 4th floor. They were like a waiting room. That's not happening anymore. You're going to be screened in the 1st floor, going to the guard directly to the room that you're going to be. That's why you cannot invite anybody else. The lawyer will tell you, but if you are without a lawyer, please don't take anybody else. If you are the only witness of your case, then it's just you. And please follow all the time the physical distancing, the 2 meters. The day of the hearing, then they will ask you to appear the day that they told you, 30 minutes before. If you don't show up the day of the hearing, then you have to go 5 days after to explain why you didn't attend. You need to bring proof. I don't know, I have an accident that day, or I was hospitalized that day, something, but you need to follow up why you didn't appear. Because if you don't appear, then your claim can be declared abandoned, because they will call you again for a second time. The second time nobody said what happened to you, then they will declare abandon the case, and then they will start the removal procedures. Then Canadian Border Services, CBSA, will contact you, and they will say, okay, you abandoned your case, now we want to remove you. Then be careful. If you don't appear the day of the hearing because any reason, let them know what was the reason. Then at the start of the hearing, now they are sending letters to lawyers, because some lawyers have issues going in person to the building. The other day we were in a consultative meeting with the IRB, the Protection Division, some lawyers from the community, and some community organizations, and luckily we were present. We have been attending this meeting regularly, and some lawyers were saying that because health issues, they are not feeling comfortable to go in person, then the IRB is offering them to do it remotely through video conference. Then if the case is that you're going to the building, they are going to be everybody in the same room. One of the key issues for the hearing is the interpreter. I have been hearing many people and clients and lawyers that said the interpreter was not good. I couldn't understand the interpreter. Then remember that you lawyers, most of the time, they don't speak your language. Then you are the one who needs to say, sorry, I don't understand the interpreter. We know that in many countries there are many languages, and that is different from one region to another region. Even if we speak the same languages, the same language from one region to another region, they use some expressions that are completely different. Then if that's your case, please let your lawyer or the board member just say it. Don't be afraid saying, sorry, I don't understand the interpreter. He's using other terms that in my region I don't use. Then make sure, because it's really important that the interpreter understand you and you understand the interpreter, because he's going to be like your voice in front of the board member. And again, the lawyer probably don't speak your language, then the lawyer cannot help you. Then you are the one who needs to raise the issue about the interpreter. Again, if you just noted any mistake in your basis of claim, you need to talk to your lawyer, and be aware that you can request a break. If you are feeling nervous, if you need to take medicine, you know that during the hearing you have to stop because you need to take medicine, or you are a person that needs really a break because you are so anxious, let the lawyer know previous that to the hearing to start. But if during the hearing you are not feeling well, if you are feeling nauseous, if you need to have like a moment of breathing, just say, can we have a 5 minutes break, please? And I know the board member will agree. Don't worry. Most of them are really friendly people and they will understand, okay? That is not going to be taken against you. When the hearing started, they will give you the package of the documents. If you have a lawyer, the lawyer will have their own copy, and they will give you another copy, because sometimes the board member will say, could you please go to the page number 50? Can you tell me who is in this picture, because it's evidence that you sent to me? Or could you please look at this document? Can you tell me who signed this document? You know this person. Tell me about this person. Then review the evidence before and be familiar with that. Don't worry about that. And if you don't understand something, if you don't see, okay, I don't understand what is the question, could you please tell me again? Then don't worry about that. But it's better to ask 2 or 3 times. And you can say, sorry, I'm nervous. Which picture are you asking for, or which document, or where is the signature I should look at? And I know the lawyer will help you too. If there is any document that you think, okay, I provide the lawyer with an affidavit and I don't see it here, and this affidavit is really important to me, or I send a medical report or a picture, I don't see it here, please raise that too, okay? Then they are going like ask you questions. Then it's really important how you address answering those questions. Then make sure again that you understand, and please don't worry. You can ask, okay, could you explain me more what you mean when you ask me this, or exactly what is the question. Sometimes they can rephrase the question in another way, and then you can understand. Now you say, okay, now the way that you are put it, now I get it. But please just don't rush to answer, thinking he's asking me this when he's asking another thing. Then think again, okay, did I understand what he's asking me? Okay, he's asking me this. Or you can say, okay, can I tell you, okay, this is what I understand you asking me. You're asking me to identify this person, or you are asking me is if that person was present with me, something like that, okay? Don't worry about that. Then they are going to ask when, where, with whom. Then try to provide short answers and go to the point. Because when you go around and try to be more, giving more explanation, sometimes you go away from the answer and sometimes you contradict yourself. Then try to give your answers, and if the board member needs clarification and they want to expand you more, then they will ask you. Okay, then yeah, the board member will say, okay, could you please describe me more about what really happened to you that day? Okay. Then the board member, who is the person who is going to decide your case, then they are going to focus in some questions, and those of the questions are, why really you fear if you're going back to your country? What do you think is going to happen to you? Also, if you seek help from the authorities, then remember you need to know, okay, I didn't because I was afraid, or the government was the one who was persecuting me. Then remember, that's why it's really important to see those country conditions, because you will understand, okay, now they know that in my country, if you go to the police, then the police is the one who is going to advise the gang members or the cartel or this group, whatever is the group, or is going to advise the government that I'm denouncing them. Then you will have more clear picture how to answer why you didn't seek protection from the authorities. But just to answer, oh, I don't know, I was just afraid the police, then that's not going to be a good answer. And again, the internal flight, that appears a lot in the claims. They will, and again, they will name the towns that they believe, because they already know your case. They already did like a research. Okay, this group is present in this region, but I don't think so. This group is so powerful that will find you in another country. Then you need to know really well who persecuted you, and if that group can find you or that person can find you in another part. They will go around that a lot, and they will name the places, and they will say why you think you cannot be safe here. Okay, and I think I already provide some examples about that. Then who is going to be in the hearing in the room is going to be the member of the IRB, that is called the board member, is the person who is going to decide your case, yourself. If the case have other family members that are claiming refugee protection, we have been told that probably that if there is a large family, probably so only 2 family members are the one who is going to testify. The rest of the family members will be put in a second room. It's just to prevent to have many people in the same room. If any case at one point the board member decides, okay, I need to call another person to testify something that I need clarification, then they will have the rest of the family in the other room, large families. And another is kids that are under 18, they don't need to attend the refugee hearing, but please clarify with your lawyer if my kids really, they don't need to be there. Most of the time they don't need to be there because the board members, most of the time they don't want to have children to be witness. Probably your lawyer already, if you are survivor of domestic violence and your kids were witness of what's happening to you, probably the lawyer already requested a psychological report, and then the report will tell, yes, these children was the witness of this and that. Then probably they will know how to talk and testify the day of the hearing. Most of the time that's not going to happen. But if the claimant is an accompanying minor, that he's the subject of the hearing, that he's the one claiming protection and is no other family member, then the minor had to testify the day of the hearing. Then the interpreter is going to be there, your legal counsel, if there is one, and if there is any issue about credibility or any other issue, criminality related issues, then the minister, the representative of the minister will be present. But they will let you know in advance. Okay, the minister is going to intervene in your case because they believe you are part of this group, and this group is considered have some criminality issues in Canada, or the minister is going to intervene because we discovered that you already were living as a permanent resident in another country, things like that. But they will let you know in advance if the minister is going to be present the date. And then again, it's going to be a restriction of how many members, family members, can be in the room. Then they are resuming in-person hearings this week. I already have been talking to some clients. Most of the ones that have been called these days, they are fortunately getting positive decisions. They are, again, I went through all these. You need to have during the whole hearing, you need to have your mask. They only will probably ask you to remove to clarify if any audio issue. But I talked to a client yesterday, and he said all the time the board member was reminding us, please fix your mask, don't remove your mask. Then if you have a hearing soon, practice talking with your mask on, because you cannot remove it. And you need to pause yourself, you need to be clear, because sometimes the mask, you feel that probably they are not hitting me, and then you try to remove it. Then the board member or the lawyer will remind you, please put your mask. Then if you have a hearing soon, try to practice. Then again, they will take all the measures that nobody will be healthy, and nobody will be in contact with somebody that already have COVID-19. Then we finish this part of what's going to happen the day of the hearing. And then I'm going to talk now a new session. What happens after the refugee hearing? At the end of your refugee hearing, sometimes the board member, the decision maker, will provide you with a decision right away. They will say it's called a bench decision. It means the board member will say, congratulations, you are a protected person of convention refugee in Canada, and they recognize you right away. Sometimes they will say, I need more time to do a research about something, that I will provide you with your decision. Because they don't provide you with a decision right away doesn't mean that it's going to be negative. Sometimes they just need to verify a little thing, and then you will receive your decision, positive or negative. If you don't receive a decision right away, and after the hearing, you can still provide the new evidence. Then after the hearing you realize, oh, I had this document, or that they asked me this question, then you can provide evidence. Of course, you need to explain why that evidence was not available before the hearing. But if you have a good explanation, then you can submit evidence until the day the board member decide your case. Then the process of your hearing or your refugee claim will finish the day the board member will sign your document, positive or negative. Then if it's a positive decision, then you're going to be granted protection in Canada, and then you can apply for landing status to become a permanent resident. And then you can reunify your family. And who can be reunified? This question always people ask me, can I bring my parents? Can I bring my brother, my sister? Unfortunately, no. You can only be reunified with your spouse. Common law partner means that you have been living with the person for more than a year and you already declared that person as a common law partner, and or a spouse and the children. Even if you mention your parents, grandparents, your brothers and sisters in your basis of claim, you cannot be reunified with them. Then when you become a permanent resident, then you can apply for the citizenship. The family reunification process and the landing process is taking between 15 months to 24 months. Then during that time, your process for permanent resident will be here in Mississauga. They will ask you for sometimes again for medical records, for criminal records again, and the file of your family will be moved to the High Commissioner close to the region that your family is. And then again, they are going to ask for pictures, form, criminal record for anybody who is over 18, and medicals. And then when the process finishes, they will join you in Canada. Then sometimes family members that are overseas, they face a long processing time. Unfortunately, there's some regions that have a high volume of cases. Then some regions will see the family here in Canada in 24 months, but I see people waiting even 3 or 4 years, unfortunately. Also, then the dependents of the refugee, they will arrive with the category DR2S. That's the visa that they will come, and when they arrive to the airport in Canada, they will be landed. Also, I want to mention that is 1 year window application for people who were resettled in Canada as a refugees. Probably you have been hearing refugees from Syria that they were brought here as a resettled refugees. They claim protection in another country, but they couldn't be living in that country because poor conditions. Then Canada brought them to Canada. And sometimes when you flee your country, there is a family member that I have cases that they fled, and during the traveling, they get separated. When they go for the interview to be resettled to Canada, there is a family member that had been missing. They don't know where it is, but the family member had been mentioned in your forms. Then you have 1 year to find that person and to bring them as a resettled refugees in Canada. But this doesn't apply for refugee claimants that are here in Canada. If you get a negative decision, then you are allowed to appeal. You have 15 days to tell the Refugee Appeal Division, that is part of the Immigration and Refugee Board, 15 days, and you need to fill out a form. It's really a simple form saying, yes, I'm going to appeal. And then you will have 30 days more to perfect the appeal, then to say why I think the decision maker made a mistake in my case. Then again, you can call legal aid and get legal advice to do the appeal. It's really important to do the appeal because the appeal will stop any removal order against you. If the appeal, if you were coming from not directly from your country. If you enter from the United States, unfortunately, you cannot appeal to the Refugee Appeal Division. You need to go to the federal court. And also, if you apply to the Refugee Appeal Division, they deny again you, then you can go to the federal court and again ask the federal court to review also the Refugee Appeal Division decision. Also, you can do a humanitarian and compassionate, but you need to wait 12 months. There is a bar of 12 months after the decision. For example, today you receive the decision. If you are a single person or you are a healthy, there is no any health issues with me or any part of my family, then I had to wait from today 12 months to do a humanitarian compassionate. But if I am mother of 2 kids, then I don't have to wait the 12 months. I can do it right away. Or if I have health issues, I'm a single, but I have a health issues. I have a heart problem, and I have a medical letter that certified that, then I can do a humanitarian and compassionate because my health conditions put me at risk to die if I have to travel, for example. There is another application that you need to wait 1 year. Is the pre-removal risk assessment. Most of the people that are rejected refugee claimants that are going to be removed, and if you were not removed during that year, then CBSA, Canadian Border Services, will contact you and probably will say, okay, now you are eligible for a removal risk assessment. Some people is telling me, can I request it? You need to wait 1 year and you cannot request it. It needs to be offered to you by the Canadian Border Services. This is not like the humanitarian compassionate that you said, okay, now I can apply for humanitarian. I will fill out the forms. I will fill out everything that I need. The PRA, you need to be invited to do it. And then in the PRA, you need to talk about risk again, but it's not the same. You cannot provide the same evidence that you provide in your refugee hearing. It needs to be a new evidence. Unfortunately, the pre-removal risk assessment is only 3% of acceptance rate. It's because you need to provide new evidence, and sometimes there is no new evidence. Then you will, if you argue again the same things that they already decide and rejected you, then again the PRA is going to be denied. Then again, you need to wait 12 months. And here there is no exemptions. Even if you have kids, even if you are ill, you need to wait 12 months. Then the 12 months, I have people that have been here for 2 years and CBSA haven't contacted them. Then sometimes they are called and said, now you can apply for the pre-removal risk assessment because we really want to remove you to your country, but we want to give you the opportunity to tell us if you are going to be at risk only of torture or to put in jail, or your life is going to be at risk. Only these 3 things you can argue in the pre-removal risk assessment. Now we finished the last part. What happened to you, or what are the remedies that you can take after your refugee claim was denied. And thank you for being here. I'm going to see if there is any questions. You can see here, this is my email address. This is my extension 225. You can call me or you can send me an email and we can talk more in depth about your case. Let me see if we have any questions. Okay. 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 There is my question is, there is a new legislation regarding refugee working in front lines. Can apply PR if they had been working from. Okay. I talked about this early when I started the presentation. He said he worked in a doctor's clinic. Then he said, I want to apply for this program. Again, the announcement that the government did on August 14 about the new path to apply for permanent residency for refugee claimants, they announced that designated professions will be allowed to do it. But there are two general there. They said PSW, people who aid nurses. Then there is no real sense of really who can apply. Again, they just did the announcement, but the government, immigration haven't said really who can apply and how can apply. We don't know if that is going to be through a humanitarian and compassion application, or they are going to do a new application, or just you need to send a letter with the evidence that yes, you qualify, that you have the experience. They haven't said. Then we really don't know who from these designated occupations really can apply, because the ones that are there are too general. There are people left behind that the government said that they were essential workers, but really we need to wait for the government to specify who can apply and through what. Then we don't know yet. I know people have been waiting for a long time for the hearing, and I think this is going to be a good remedy. But also we have been saying the government that they cannot leave behind others that are designated as essential workers, the one that were cleaning, the one that were working in the groceries. Then really, Hussein, I don't know if you can apply yet. We need to wait for further information. Okay. Okay, there were some people that said, Mohammed says he was, couldn't hear anything. Sorry about that, but I hope everybody didn't have more issues with that. There is an Spanish question, then I'm just going to read it. Okay, there is a question about in Spanish that is asking if there is family members that are in the United States, can they cross to Canada to claim protection? Okay, right now the border between Canada and the United States is closed because of COVID-19. Then if you are coming to Canada and your intention is to claim protection, you need to meet two exemptions, because the Safe Third Country Agreement is still in place. This is an agreement between Canada and the United States that said if you are in the United States, you need to claim protection then before coming to Canada. But if you are coming to Canada, you need to meet two exemptions. Means that you need to prove that you have a family member here, and a close family member, mother, father, your brother, sister, your spouse, your children. And you need to have evidence that how you are related to that person, or you are a minor. Then you can cross if you are an accompanied minor. Then the persons need to be careful and make sure that they meet one of these exemptions, or you are from a country that you don't need a visa to come to Canada. Only those exemptions. If you present yourself to the border, for example, if you came to a Windsor border or Buffalo border at the Peace Bridge, if they don't believe that you have a family member here that can qualify you for one of the exemptions, they will deny you entry and they will return you back to United States. Then that's not good. You need to make sure that you have a family member. Also, last year there were people on the news saying there is people crossing to Canada, not to the official borders. They were like entering irregular, mean walking for wherever part they found, and they were at that time they were able, like if they meet it, this happened to people that didn't have family members here, they need a visa, then they decide, okay, anyway, I will cross to Canada. Then they go and walk into Canada. And then they were intercepted by the RCMP. They were detained, but they were detained and taken to an immigration facility, and then they were able to claim protection. This is not happening now because the border is closed because of COVID-19. Then you have a family member in the United States that is not a close family member, and they cannot prove that you have a relative in Canada, then don't try to cross irregularly, because people have been detained and sent back to the United States. And some of them have been detained. Even though the United States said we will not detain nobody, we hear that some families or some individuals that have been returned to United States have been detained. Then you need to make sure that yes, you can cross the border. Another person that wrote in Spanish saying that when the hearings are going to start virtually, they already, since late August, they had been sending letters to the lawyers and the clients saying, if you are ready for, for a remote hearing, let us know. Then this is happening. Again, they send some letters to refugee claimants and lawyers. If you haven't received one and your lawyer haven't received one, then unfortunately you have to wait again. They are contacting people for remote hearings, and this week they start in-person hearings. Okay. Okay, somebody says we can send the presentation. You can look at the presentation in our website. Somebody says if I can invite a witness. Yes, you can invite a witness to the hearing, but you need to talk to your lawyer. If you don't have a lawyer, then you need to inform the IRB at least 10 days before your hearing who is the witness. And you need to tell the board member why you believe this witness is important for your case. Okay, somebody says if the webinar, we are recording the webinar, yes, it's going to be posted in our podcast, and it's going to be posted in three podcasts, in three different podcasts. One is going to be the updates, the other one is gathering evidence, and the other one is the refugee hearing date. Okay, somebody says that how about an adopted child that was not included as adopted on the basis of claim? Can they join a family after positive decision? If you didn't include it in the basis of claim, unfortunately you cannot include it now, but also you need to prove that it's adopted. Then that you have like valid papers. I know in some cultures, when your sister, for example, died, then in your culture you just adopt the kids of your sister. Then they come to your house and then they start living with you. But Canada will need legal adoption papers. Means you went to the court and asked for the custody to be granted to you. Now this child is legally adopted by you. It's just not say, oh, I adopt this child. It will not work. Then, but if you have legal papers, then if you didn't mention them in your basis of claim before, when you become a permanent, when you apply for your permanent resident, you can explain why at that moment you didn't mention it. And but if you have time, you can talk to your lawyer and try to put it in your basis of claim. But again, it needs to have legally adopted. You just not, because they are going to ask you for that. I have many people that mention adopted children in the basis of claim. Then they are denied when they claim, when they go through the family reunification, because they cannot provide that they really went to the court and this adopted child has custody, that you have custody of this kid. Then you need to start doing that if you want to bring the child, like the adoption papers. Okay, my case is different because I made my inline claim on March 3rd. My eligibility interview was on the 16th of March. It was canceled. I got an email saying my application for temporary residence in Canada has been approved, and I received my work permit in May 2020. But I have been contacted to come for the eligibility interview. I have been told by a lawyer to prepare for my hearing. Please, how true is that? Okay, they send you your work permit. Then you are lucky because most people that we know, they haven't received a work permit without the eligibility interview. And then you need to clarify with your lawyer if there is for a hearing or if it's for the eligibility interview. Okay, that person is the only one who will tell you if it's for the eligibility interview at Dundas Street, 5343 Dundas Street West, the immigration office, IRCC office, or if the board member IRB is calling you for a hearing. I don't know, it's too soon for a hearing. Probably when he said hearing means the eligibility interview. Then please clarify that with your lawyer. If he means eligibility interview instead of the hearing at the 74 Victoria in Toronto. Yes, they say, so they only invite for the PRA after 12 months. Yes, you need to be able to remain in Canada for 12 months, then you are eligible for a PRA. Where can I see the video of the webinar? They will be posting really soon, probably next week. Are refugee claimants allowed to continue to work on work permit while they wait for PRA invitation? I haven't received my refugee ID. Okay, that's one question. Are refuse claimants allowed to continue to work on work permits? When they reject you and you did the appeal and you are just waiting because you already did try all the remedies and you again were denied, if you are still having your work permit valid, you can still using it until Canadian Border Services will call you. And sometimes when they call you, they will ask for all your IDs, your work permit, they will take it away, or they will provide you with a letter saying you cannot work any longer because you are preventing, because now you are on removal proceedings. Then it depends of the situation. But if you are a rejected refugee claimant, your work permit is still valid and they haven't called you to remove you, then you can still using it until they call you. Okay, I haven't received my refugee ID. Please, how true it is that I can be given a hearing date anytime, even when I don't have my refugee ID? Again, I think then if you don't have your refugee ID, what they are calling you is for the eligibility interview. Then clarify that with your lawyer, because I don't think so that they are calling you so soon for your hearing. at least if they found out that you are inadmissible, and then they are calling you for a special hearing to declare you inadmissible because criminality issues, or they found out that you already claim protection in another country, then sometimes they are calling you for a special hearing that is called inadmissibility hearing. But again, you need to talk to your lawyer. Another question, can refused claimants be removed from Canada before the 12 months bar to apply for agency? Yes. I have refugee claimants that after they are refused, they have been contacted in a month, in 2 months. Depends of CBSA officers. Then they can remove you at any moment. If we have mock hearings, no, unfortunately, we don't have mock hearings. Mock hearings is like you come to an organization and they will have somebody that will be like your lawyer, that is not your real lawyer and not a real board member, but then it's like a theater. We can put it like that for people that doesn't understand the mock hearing. But there is another organization that is called Matthew House. Again, Matthew House is an organization that they organize mock hearings. You can contact them. If you can have access to the slides, yes, we will post it in our website. If they have been calling people for interview concerning refugee document, yes. The eligibility interview, yes. CBSA had been contacting people for the last 2 weeks. People that claim protection at the port of entry, and the ones that are inland claims that the eligibility interview was canceled. This week, IRCC is starting calling people, but it's only by appointment. I have the experience that they contact late at night, 2 clients, 9 p.m. this week, and said, I'm calling from Immigration and Refugee Citizenship Canada, IRCC, and I'm calling you because you have an eligibility interview tomorrow at 6 p.m. Then they have been calling. And unfortunately, they are not calling the lawyers. Then if they call you from IRCC, try to verify that, yes, you will have, that they are calling you from immigration, and that the appointment for the eligibility interview is not called hearing, eligibility interview, at what time is and what you need. But yes, they start calling this week. I have claim protection since February 2020, but my question is how long it will take for court or whatever answer in these pandemic days. For the eligibility interview, again, they started. But if you are seeing that when your case can be answered, like that you have, we don't call the Immigration and Refugee Board Protection Division the court, but you refer that at the court. The board can call you in 3 months, in 6 months, in 1 year. I have clients waiting for 2 or 3 years. Again, we have a backlog of claims in Canada of 90,000 cases waiting for a refugee hearing. Then I don't know when they are going to call you. If the interpreter understands me, but I find something translated or wrong, what can I do? Then you need to let them know, the board member and your lawyer. I understand the interpreter, but when he's doing the interpretation back to you, he's not doing a good job. Then you can raise that. And then the board member has to make sure that the interpreter is doing a good job. Because yes, some people that are, they understand English, then they understand what the interpreter is saying, and you don't agree, please let them know. My question is, I have submitted my document to IRCC, no, it's IRCC through e-post for over 4 weeks, but I'm yet not be called for eligibility interview. But if you have the acknowledgement letter, then you can have access to Ontario Work, you have access to interim federal health. And yes, they haven't called you for an interview. People that claim even in October, November, protection in Canada, the eligibility interviews were canceled. Then you need to be patient and they will contact you through your email. Okay, hi, thanks for this webinar. What do you mean accompanying by a minor? No, an accompanying minor means that there is a child less than 18 years old that wants to cross from United States to Canada, an accompanying minor, a minor that is alone. They don't have a family member, they are traveling alone, and they arrive to United States and they want to cross to Canada, they can do it. Somebody is asking if Vive la Casa is working. Yes, they are working. You can contact them. Vive la Casa is an organization that is at the border with Buffalo in the United States. This organization helps and assists refugee claimants that want to cross from the United States to Canada. Then it's a good organization to contact. Again, it's called Vive la Casa in Buffalo. And it's good organization to contact if you are thinking to cross the border. Then they will make sure that you qualify to cross the border, okay? That you meet the exemptions. And they will prepare you for the eligibility interview. What is the longest wait for a hearing? I submitted my case 24 months ago. Already, I have been saying that I have people waiting for 2 years, 4 years for a hearing. Again, the backlog is really big. When you are having issues with getting your evidence for hearing, what can we do? I talk about this, that probably you can have an expert in your country about your matter, and then probably you can have an expert that can write an opinion document about your case. But I don't know the specifics of your case. If there is wrong date in the narrative by mistake imprinted, but I mentioned the correct one in another part in the basis of claim, I must correct it before hearing. Yes, it will be much better, because that will create confusion the day of the hearing, and you don't want that. How long does the file review process take if my case is eligible? I don't know. They are saying as soon as the lawyer asks them this file is ready. Really, I don't have an answer how long it will take for the IRB to look. But I don't think so it's going to be too long. The webinar video will be posted. Yes, it's going to be posted, and it's going to, you can find it on the podcast, and it's going to be in 3 parts. What kind of questions do we expect the eligibility interview? They just want to clarify who are you. That's why you went. You present your passport or your ID, your documents. Then that's why they call you back, because during that time, what Immigration of Canadian Borders are looking is if yes, you are who you say you are, that you don't have criminality, that you didn't claim protection in another country. Then in the eligibility interview, it's mostly just little questions about why you want to claim protection. They don't want proof of that, but they will ask in general why you are fleeing your country, why you were forced to be here in Canada, but they don't go in details, but mostly it's around who you are. And they will have an interpreter for you. If removal ready and work permit is taken away, can they still apply for HNC and remain in Canada? If they take your work permit and they try to remove you, I think this is better to talk with me by phone. If I get a negative answer, I am obligated to go to my country, or I can go to another country. If they remove you, remember when you claim protection, they took from you your passport. Then if you are denied, they will say, okay, you need to present with your ticket. For example, December 5th, they will ask you to go to the 4th floor in the airport, and only there they will give you your passport. And what they want is, before that, they will verify that your ticket, it goes to your country. They will not let you to go to another country. You need to prove that you are living to your country. Can a refugee claimant establish a company buy house without their hearing date? You need to be careful because refugee claimants, remember, you can establish a company. Yes, that's no problem. You can register your own company, but buy a house, you need to be careful, because when you want to get a mortgage, your social insurance number starts with 9. It will tell the bank that you don't have a full permanent resident in Canada, that you are waiting for your permanent resident. Then you are considered precarious migrant, that you may leave at any moment, or Canada can remove you at any moment. Then you need to talk to your lender, the bank, and make sure that they understand that and you are approved. I have a case that she was a refugee claimant. She was helped by a broker, an independent broker, not from the bank. And she was told, yes, the bank will approve your mortgage. Then she put an offer in a house. It was $60,000. And then when the broker took her to the bank denied her, saying, you are not a permanent resident of Canada. We don't want to risk to lend you all this money to buy a house. Then, because she already did the offer, she lost all that money. Then you need to be careful. Then first go and talk to the bank, okay? And make sure that they will approve your mortgage with a social insurance number that starts with 9. Don't put any down payment in a home before your bank will say, yes, your mortgage is approved, go and you can buy a house. Because if not, you will lose all that money. Can a refugee claimant establish? Okay, I did that. Does FCJ have access to organizations that can support people outside Canada who want to claim refugee status, or sponsored by an organization? This is called private sponsorship. If you have a family member outside Canada, they need to be out of their country of origin to be in another country, and they need to be recognized in another country through the UNHCR. They need to have an ID as a refugees in that country. And then you can look here for a group of 5 private sponsorship that they are willing to bring your family, or you can look for an organization. Then you can contact the cross-cultural service community in Toronto. They know more about private sponsorship and organizations that are willing to sponsor refugees. Is the eligibility hearing the final hearing? No. This is only, the eligibility hearing is to see if you don't have inadmissibility because criminality, or because you already claim protection in another country. Then after the eligibility interview, you need to wait for your hearing to the board, at the board, IRB. Can I explain to the interpreter in English? You can try, and I don't know, it depends on the board member if they will allow it that. What chances do I have to apply for postgraduate study permits? If you are a refugee claimant, you cannot apply for a postgraduate study permit. But this is confused. Then, Oriyome, you can write to me, and I want to see what is your case about. I'm pregnant. Should I tell in hearing if this help? Well, they will consider you if you are pregnant that you need more breaks, but your refugee claim is about your persecution or why you were forced to flee. It's nothing related if you are pregnant or not, or you are sick or not. Then it's only if you are pregnant, it will help you for accommodation the day of the hearing. But yes, definitely you can let them know that you are pregnant, and then they will accommodate you for the hearing. If you need more breaks, for example, things like that. Or you are so emotional, because pregnant women sometimes get so emotional, things like that. But it's just for accommodation. Can you please mention again the name of the organization? Is called Cross Cultural Services. You can look for in IRCC, even if you look in IRCC, Immigration and Refugees Canada, Citizenship, the immigration, there is, if you look for private sponsorships, you can look at this organization, but it's called, or you can email to me, Zina, email me to diana@cjrefugeecenter.org, and I will send you the organization. Okay, I think this is the end of the presentation. Then thank you so much for all your questions. Thanks for being here, and I hope all the tips that okay, somebody is writing there. The Catholic Cross Cultural Services. Yeah, that's the organization. Thank you, Doris. Again, Catholic Cross Cultural Services is the organization that may have more information about private sponsorship. Okay. Okay. Thanks, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of afternoon. Bye.